pleased to be joined now by Christian Thompson. He is a founder and a songwriter with Church Mice, and he joins us now on the MegaCast. Christian, thanks for being with us today.
Morning, Tyler. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you with me. How are you doing? How are things going today?
Good. Things are going good. It's a little dreary and dark outside, but that's good fodder for a musician to sit down and write something really sad.
Absolutely. It's a great opportunity to hunker down inside your home, inside your studio there, and play some music and come up with some new ideas. So, Christian, tell us a little bit about Church Mice. When did you're a founding member of it, you're a songwriter for it. When did this group form, and what inspired you to find the group?
So the guitar player and I, Bill Solomonson, have been friends since we were about 13 years old, and that entire time, on and off, we have been in bands together. Pretty much every band that I've been in, Bill's been in. We're kind of co-writers. For a number of years, we were in a band called Letterbox in the early 2000s, and got some good traction sort of regionally, and then life kind of took over. We were the whole band was getting married and having kids and things like that. So Bill and I have been together since we were little kids, basically. This band I formed myself in 2018. The inspiration was in 2017, one of my best friends, Jim, and I were at this final Soundgarden concert at Fox Theater. And Soundgarden and Nirvana and all those grunge Seattle era bands were kind of heroes, gods for us young musicians. We were about their same age when they all got real big. And I had let go of music for a number of years. After Letterbox broke up, I did a few things. I was in a church ministry, which was really great for my musicianship, but life kind of takes these crazy turns, and I had let go of music for quite a bit. And the night that Chris Cornell, the next morning, I woke up and saw the CNN thing on my phone that Chris Cornell had died, and I had just seen this guy singing not 6-7 hours before, and I was heartbroken, and it just kind of hit me in a very strange way. Like, some people have these grand epiphanies. This was my grand epiphany. Like, I need to be making music. There's so much more music in me that I didn't let out. And I had to let go of the notion that I was too old to make music, because here was Chris Cornell. He was 52, and he was in Soundgarden. They sounded amazing, and they looked amazing, and the crowd was just so engaged. And I thought, you know what? This is my signal from the universe that I need to be writing music. So I spent some time with my cousin in Cleveland. His name's Brent Kirby. He's an incredible musician, and he got me some studio time, and I didn't even really know what I was doing. I just sat down and recorded a couple of songs and then submitted them to Arts, Beats, and Eats for play to be on their docket for 2018. And lo and behold, those two songs apparently were good enough that they accepted us. And I thought, oh, geez, I don't have a band. Didn't have anybody else in my band. So whipped a band together mostly from my church friends, which is how we got to the band Church Mice name. And we've been playing ever since, and we've been writing and recording. Last year was a particularly interesting and hard time for recording, in that we were all kind of locked in. But we recently released a 6-song EP on Spotify and all the other major outlets, and we're about to release a single, which is really the way you're supposed to do songs these days, is release singles. So we're going to release a single in the middle of November, a song called Batchawana. It's very rock and roll, turned into kind of like psychedelic rock, sort of like our influences, and that's kind of where we are today.
So your band came together through your relationships through your church,
Right.
and then, but you also want to kind of take away and change the narrative of the church band concept with what you're doing as well. And you've kind of taken that inspiration to form the band and to conceptually build the band, but you're also not necessarily moving away from that, but using that as inspiration to verify what the perception of that church band concept really is.
Well, so what the church band did for me, it gave me a deeper grounding in like spirituality, human spirituality in general, which is something I badly needed. That's why I ended up going into church ministry back then, because my life was a mess. I was a mess. I was in the middle of a very tumultuous end of a relationship, and my kids were feeling the pain. So church for me was a way to ground myself. But what I didn't expect was that the musicianship of the church ministry was just unbelievable. And the ability to send a message through voice, through music to people just touched me. And I recognized then how it must feel for someone like you two to be on stage in front of these fans, and clearly for different messages, different reasons. But I took it more of just a humanity loves music. People are inspired by and emotionally driven by music, whether it's church music or heavy metal, whatever it is. It touches people in this sort of universal and celestial way that I got deeper into contact with. So when I sat down to start writing church mice music, I wanted it to have a specific message. Everything I wrote back when I was in college was kind of like fun, and I just wanted things to rhyme, and I wanted them to be catchy. In my adult years, I've changed my my MO to, I want people to feel something deeper. I want you to feel something when you listen to my song that I feel when I listen to early Coldplay or Wilco or some of these bands that are doing this thing where they have great musicianship, but they're also creating a sonic vibe and a message that can touch people in many different ways.
Yeah, music really is, when it comes down to it, a form of communication. It's a universal form of communication as well. And while some people are drawn to the tune itself, and like you said, they're drawn to the sonic vibes of a certain song. In many ways, what really touches people are those deeper meanings behind those songs. When they grasp the lyrics, when they're grasping the lyrics and on top of the sonic vibe of the song, and bringing that all together to really have that relationship with the musicians that are creating it as well, and take their own interpretation from the meaning of the song, but also soak in the interpretation of the meaning of the song from those that created it as well, which then makes for a really interesting dichotomy when you're playing in person and when you're performing for people as well, because that communication also changes. Given that the pandemic has caused musicians to not be able to perform in person for the better part of the last year and a half or 2 years, and now that they're back, have you noticed that audiences and their communication with your band and in other musical settings that you've seen with other groups and with other artists, have you seen that as being different? Has that changed?
100%. And it goes in both directions. What I have, I've got a handful of friends that are full-time working musicians, in that when they're not playing with their band on the weekend, they're playing their guitar at a solo gig at a local restaurant where maybe no one's even paying attention, but they're collecting a paycheck. They're keeping their craft. Those people, I think, what I sense from and I've got 3 or 4 pretty close friends like that. What I recognize from them is that they miss not just the money. Obviously, the money is important and the livelihood, but even when not everyone's into it, a couple people clapping in the background, appreciating what you do, they recognize the value of, even just if you can touch one person on one night, it's worth schlepping all your stuff across town and playing for a crowd that most people don't care. But if one person tears up or one person hugs you at the end, that's really valuable. And we played our most recent show in September at Arts Beats and Eats on a big stage. And we've done this the last 3 Arts Beats and Eats in a row, and then going back 10 years or so, my band Letterbox with Bill played Arts Beats and Eats maybe 5-6 years in a row on multiple stages. This show, people were effusive with praise and really digging into the lyric content and asking me questions about, what were you thinking when you wrote this lyric? And I've never had that happen before, and it happened multiple times in that one show. So I think, the lack of human connection, you can listen to music anywhere, which is great, and Spotify and the other outlets give us this bountiful ability to just hear anything we want and change it on a moment's notice. But the person-to-person connection of me standing on a stage and singing a lyric and hearing somebody or seeing someone sing that lyric, or hear the lyric and they get the understanding and they just light up, it's different now. And I hope that we're able to maintain that, because it was the intention of live music, I think, always to have a relationship between who's making the music and who's receiving it. Otherwise, any of us can sit in a garage and hammer out a bunch of chords and sound great. But if you can't connect with human beings on both just the sound you're making and the words that you're speaking and the message you're trying to send, I don't know what the point would be.
We're joined by Christian Thompson. He's a founding member and a songwriter with the band Church Mice, joining us today on the MegaCast. So you mentioned that you have a new EP that is out that you've released on Spotify, but you're also performing concerts in person as well now. Can you tell us if there are some upcoming shows where people may be able to see Church Mice coming up?
We've got nothing on the calendar right now. We're writing and recording. We're releasing this song, and our hope is to book a couple places like Otis Supply, the Parliament Room at Otis Supply. The Loving Touch is another place we'd love to play. Jack White's place down in Detroit we'd like to play. Yeah. We're still relatively new, and we had just started to kind of get our mojo going when the world shut down. We had nothing released until this past year, so we're still kind of getting our footing as in terms of where shows go. But you can find Church Mice on Facebook. You can find Church Mice on Instagram. You can find us on Spotify and on Bandcamp. Just Church Mice as it sounds. So any updates that people might be interested in or learning more about the band or hearing, what we sound like can be found on those venues.
Well, we appreciate your time telling us more about Church Mice and encourage people that are watching today to check out your band and all those places that you just mentioned. Christian, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for your time. Take care.